In this video, we will discuss general and specific personal jurisdiction. We'll start by discussing personal jurisdiction, then the meaning of specific and general jurisdiction, and finally we'll look at the difference between general jurisdiction over a natural person and over a corporation. Personal jurisdiction means the court's power over a party, over a person. Keep in mind that there are 50 different states in the United States, and within each state, there are courts. So in a civil litigation, we have to answer the question, in which state will a court have jurisdiction? In which state will a court have power over the defendant? Let's say we have a car accident in New York between Patty and David. Now the accident took place in New York, but David is from Pennsylvania. He's a resident of Pennsylvania. So can Patty sue David in New York? In other words, does a New York court have personal jurisdiction over David? Does the New York court have power over David to force him to appear in court, and can the court enter a judgment against him? To answer this question, we need to understand that in the United States, there are two types of personal jurisdiction: specific personal jurisdiction and general personal jurisdiction. Specific jurisdiction is where a court in one state has power over the defendant based on the defendant's alleged actions within the state where the court is located. Well, in our case, David drove to New York and allegedly caused an accident in New York. We can then say that David took actions directed at New York, or David's actions took place in New York. And because the claim by Patty is based on what David did in New York, this case involves specific personal jurisdiction over David. Meaning Patty will claim that New York has specific personal jurisdiction over David because of David's contacts with New York. And almost certainly, if Patty alleges that David caused a car accident in New York should have personal jurisdiction over David even though he's a resident of Pennsylvania. General jurisdiction is different, because general personal jurisdiction means that a court in the state where a defendant is home will have jurisdiction over that defendant for any claim anywhere. So because David is at home in Pennsylvania, a Pennsylvania court should have general personal jurisdiction over him. A Pennsylvania court should have general jurisdiction over David for David's actions anywhere, because David is at home in Pennsylvania. In contrast, a court in New York will only have specific jurisdiction based on David's contacts with New York. The rules for general jurisdiction over natural persons and over corporations are different. For a natural person, general personal jurisdiction exists in the state where the person resides. Corporations are different. They're at home where they are incorporated and their principal place of business, which typically means where they are headquartered. So if a corporation is incorporated in Delaware and its headquarters is in California, both Delaware and California will have general jurisdiction over the corporation. To summarize, personal jurisdiction means a court's power over a person. Specific jurisdiction provides a court with power over a defendant based on his actions within the state where the court is located. General jurisdiction means power over the defendant for his actions anywhere. A court in the state where the defendant is at home has general jurisdiction.